Good Tuesday evening. Welcome to another edition of the Sideline Junkies Tuesday Night Flight. It's the big guy KG. You can't see my lovely face because I am on the road, but I am here with none other than the Melvin Franklin of our group, the glue that holds together, always shows up, the world's greatest bass singer, the Midnight Rider.
There's probably some people that's going to debate that bass singer piece, but I get what you're saying. I get where you're going. I like the energy in your fervor. I like the belief you used when you said it. I just know I ain't gonna be able to hold up to it. So, but it's all good.
Well,
What's going on, man?
we nothing much, man. We're not promising that he gonna sing Old Man River tonight. I just want to let y'all know that he's not singing Old Man River. But
Yeah, definitely not singing that. Ho. Let's not blow past the breaking news. You gotta. This the A block. You gotta give up your breaking news, man. Tell them what you got going on.
what I got going on, I mean, breaking news for me. If
Yes.
we're thinking on the same lines,
There's a reason you're not on camera.
because I am out. My middle daughter had my first grandson yesterday morning, 7 pounds, 14 ounces. Young Maceo Parker, as I like to call him. I never call. Oh, that's thunder. I never call none of these kids by their government names. But we have an addition to the family. Hopefully soon he'll be making his on-camera debut. So that's why I'm not on camera and I'm on location right about now.
So, in terms of being a grandparent, what number are you on now?
Number three. Number three.
Okay, but well,
Two granddaughters and my first grandson.
from the rest of the Sideline Junkies and all of those that follow the and sometimes provide content for the show. Congratulations, man. Enjoy it. I know you can be good at it. Just do your thing, man. Like always.
Oh, I appreciate it, man. I'm already preparing. I was like, I'm gonna buy some new furniture for him to learn how to walk on. I teach my kids how to walk, not by walking on the floor, but how to walk along the backs of the sofa. That's how I taught my kids how to walk. And then when you get to the end of the sofa, you jump off. No fear.
Okay.
So real different around these parts. Real different.
That's that new age.
Yeah, and it works though. It works. Anytime you got a 2-year-old and he's not afraid to hit a corkscrew swanton. Yeah, that's really good.
So you're
But go ahead.
you're the grandpa with that video, where like the kids doing all the wrestling moves off
Yes.
of yeah. All right.
Yes, most definitely. That is me. That is me 1,000%. My wife doesn't like it, but I can't change who I am. I can't change who I am.
Kids love that. That's always why, no offense to the ladies, but that's why dad's the favorite in the beginning. Because you know you can't do it.
That is true. Now,
in the beginning.
In the beginning. Now, I just want to make sure you can still hear me.
You good, brother?
Okay. Let me do some technical things because I got to get ready for this next segment. It has to be said. I've been biting my tongue about it, and this is not a old man shaking his fist at the cloud moment. I will say that now. So, I'm gonna say that. I'm gonna preface that. But, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, young world, I got beef. I've sat and I stewed about this for a couple of days now. And I'm naming names, and it's two two different points, and then a third point we'll cover in the next segment, but 2 points in this segment. And my 2 points are, first, let's start off with Nick Wright, JJ Redick, Kendrick Perkins, any of these so-called basketball purists and basketball fans that are the ones that run around calling people casuals because they don't agree with your sentiment about LeBron or KD or whoever. I need y'all to shut the hell up. And I know sometimes the people on TV, they do it for ratings. Cool. But you're breeding a type of fan that is detrimental to the game. Now,
Right.
if you've listened to this show, you know for a fact I am a historian of the game. I'm a lover of the game. I'm a teacher of the game, whether it's basketball, football, even baseball, hockey. Okay? I heard Nick Wright say, well, people act like Jordan only played 6 years. No. Jordan played, if I'm not mistaken, 14. Well, he was never above 500 before Scottie Pippen got there. He wasn't this without Scottie Pippen. And when you bring up the stats of Scottie Pippen's rookie year, he wasn't all rookie. Scottie Pippen averaged 8 points that year. Scottie didn't come into his own until about 89. That's when he came into his own. Okay. Was Scottie Pippen one of the greatest teammates? Yes, he was. But for people to sit around and to make your LeBron argument, you have to tear down Michael Jordan. You have to tear down Wilt Chamberlain. You have to tear down Bill Russell. You got to tear down Elgin Baylor. Here's my thing. When it comes to basketball and you're going across eras, everything's going to change. Everything's going to change. But you cannot in no way, shape, or form call yourself a basketball fan and disrespect what came before. Elgin Baylor was probably one of the most purest scorers you'll ever see. But the game changed. Then you have your George Gervins. You'll have your Dr. J's, your Connie Hawkins. You cannot leave these guys out of the conversation because, they didn't play against anybody. It was only 8 teams. Is that their fault? Is that their fault? You're creating this narrative that, well, LeBron was surviving the 80s because all y'all old guys think about is somebody getting punched in the head. No, but you paid the price to come to the lane. Somebody said it best, and I think it was Steven Jackson. B sent it to me. People let LeBron score. They move out of his way when he comes to the lane. You know why they move out of his way? Because you can't go up against LeBron. You can't get body-to-body contact and have him finish. Because as soon as you body him, it's a foul. He's not going to call it all the time. But you can't go body to body anymore. Nick Wright, this Jordan thing that you're on, I don't know what the hell it is, brother, but please get off of it. You can't tarnish Jordan's legacy to make LeBron's legacy look better. You can't tarnish LeBron's legacy just to big up Jordan. It doesn't work like that. Let's appreciate what was, what is, because what is about to be what was. We're in the twilight years of seeing LeBron, KD, Kyrie, Steph. We're in the twilight years for these guys. Enjoy them while you have them, because when they're gone, you're going to long for them. That's the thing. You're going to long for these guys. But instead, y'all want to make petty fucking arguments, and dudes want to jump in comments. Yeah, LeBron never did that. You know, LeBron wouldn't do something like that. The dumbest shit I seen. Michael Jordan had on some camo shorts and a t-shirt. Oh, look at this guy. Look at how he's dressed. What kind of guy, what kind of billionaire dresses like that? And people in our generation was like, what do you mean? He got on shorts and a shirt, but his shirt, he's looking business casual while he's watching his team race. It's a 60-year-old man. What are you talking about? Oh, because his shorts are not tight. Because he doesn't have shorts at the middle of his thigh. His shorts come down below his knees. That's a problem. Well, in my day, we didn't wear shorts, above our knee, where you could see my nuts hanging out or you could see my underwear or something, because the girls wore those. So, yeah, that's not something that we do in our generation. Okay? Issue number 2. One of my favorite players all time. I defend this dude. I call him one of the greatest rebounder, if not the greatest rebounder of all time. Dennis Keith Rodman. He made a statement and said Larry Bird, if he played in today's game, he'd be playing in Europe. How the fuck can you say that? If that's the case, you be playing in Europe too, Dennis. Because Larry Bird used to bust your motherfucking ass wide the fuck open. And you talk about he'll be playing in Europe? Bro, he used to tear you apart. You made a comment, as well as Isaiah Thomas, if he was black, he'd just be another guy. Yeah, well, he was another guy busting your ass that night. He used to rip you a new one. But you talking about he be playing in Europe? Come on, man. Don't disrespect the legend like that. I wouldn't stand for nobody to disrespect you like that. Don't disrespect the legend like that, please. Please. This shit, this whole narrative that you got to destroy somebody to make somebody else's case look better. No. Cut that shit the fuck out, please. It is not worth it. It's not where it's at. And I'm done.
You sure?
I'm good.
Okay. Just making sure. It's like a fart, better out than in.
Yeah, and I'm not afraid to name names.
So the one I initially saw was the Dennis Rodman comment. And you eloquently followed up with saying that he was the guy that said when he was in the league, like Larry Bird, if he was a brother, he'd be just another one of the guys, and getting this stand up or this appreciation only because he was white. And I think Dennis is just still holding on to that. I mean, you gotta remember Larry Bird used to tell, there's that great story about Zeke when the year before I guess Rodman gets there, it's like they have an all white front line. And Bird comes to him and is like, who's guarding me? And he's like, he tells him it's disrespectful to put a white dude on me. You know what I'm saying? You need to get a brother for it. So the narrative that Larry Bird that these old guys couldn't play in this era, you also remember they will be getting the training of this time frame. And Larry could shoot. Larry could shoot with nobody, like it's nobody's business. So you're telling me one of the greatest shooters ever can't be a shooter in this era? And what do you do basketball wise that is so great that these guys won't even get a shot or couldn't even get a shot in this league? I just don't understand that logic and that theory, because you're talking about great players again now with better training, better nutrition, better everything. So they have no choice. They have no choice but to get better. They'll have better genetics because they're born later. So I think it's funny, and you're not always getting this argument when I tell you that sometimes players and athletes don't pay attention to the sport they're playing. I mean, sometimes you can see it in some of these comments these people make that they aren't historians. They can play the game, they can talk about it on a today level, but anytime you bring in yesteryear, there's always this turn down, this being dismissive of the things that you saw beforehand. And it's like, why not A, appreciate it? Why not maybe B, learn something from it? And then C, I mean, you're talking about Europe. Shoot, Europeans coming over here and busting tail. Shoot, Luka didn't have no year that he had to wait, and he only averaged like 10 points. Luka came in almost giving you 20, if I'm not mistaken. And if I am mistaken, I'm apologize, but I don't think I'm wrong on that. Like these guys
think about this.
Well,
think about this.
Think of American basketball.
Think about the greatest European player, the Picasso of basketball, and Drazen Petrovic. We only got to see a small taste of him, and he was busting ass. Imagine if he would have lived, and them Nets would have got stronger with Derek Coleman, Kenny Anderson, and Drazen. You still had Chris Morris, who don't sleep on Chris Morris, because he was a beast too. He could score. Imagine what you would have gotten. And then think about this. We've heard story after story after story about Larry Bird when Reggie Miller tried to distract him at the free throw line. And he hit the joint and was like, I'm the best fucking shooter in this league, kid.
Right.
And then what about with Magic? Magic told a story. I seen it last week. He told a story. He said, Larry told me, he said, I'm going to pull up right there in the corner. I'm going to pump fake. I'm going to wait for you to fly by. I'm going to look at you laying on the floor, and then I'm going to hit the fucking shot in your face. He said he went to the corner, he caught it, he pump faked. Magic jumped forward, he watched him ride by, and he dropped the shot. He tried to recover, he dropped the shot in his face. He waited for him to recover, then he dropped the shot in his face. Chuck Person. Last story I'm gonna tell, we'll move on. Chuck Person. Christmas Day game. Larry Bird told him at tip-off, I got a Christmas present for you. Comes down to it, game on the line. Larry hits the shot and says, Merry fucking Christmas, Chuck. You telling me only thing that I can see Larry Bird struggling with is the suspensions and the fines for the fights that is going to start. That's the only thing I see him struggling with. I digress.
No, I don't even know if he would struggle with that. I mean, because you would learn to adapt. And like this NBA, for some reason, I think because they do all the dribble and the step back and the crossover and the recrossover and then the recrossover of the recrossover, like they mistake that for like skill. And
yeah,
and like there's a bunch of people that have always said like if you take some of the extra out of the game, it's easy to watch. Because these guys are actually beating people and then bringing themselves back to get covered again by the person they just beat by like 2 steps. So I don't know. With this game, it's hard because you know what you want to represent, and I think right now because we're in this head-to-head sports world where you have to have combatant arguments. That sometimes that combatant arguments becomes a place where you have to put down the person you're talking about to make your point.
And I hate that. I hate that I have to diminish LeBron to make Jordan look good. Jordan's resume speaks for itself. Everybody wants to talk about, well, look at what Jordan did off the court. I don't give a fuck what he did off the court. I don't give a fuck about the gambling allegations. I don't give a fuck about the Hornets not winning. That don't have nothing to do with what got him in the Basketball Hall of Fame. He went in as a player, not an owner. So if you want to talk shit, make sure you got your shit together that you can talk. But sitting here talking reckless out the side of your neck, well, Jordan didn't do this and Jordan didn't do that. Jordan led the league in scoring, but he wasn't a good player. He wasn't a good teammate. Were you there? That's a famous line from my cousin. Were you there? You weren't even born during that time. You're going off what somebody told you. Were you there? And you're going off of somebody that wasn't even there. Were you there? I can't. I refuse to get into arguments on posts, online, with anybody that decides to say, oh, you're a casual. How am I a casual? I've been studying this game since 1989. It is 2023. I've been studying for over 30 years. Everything that came before 89, everything that came after it. How am I a casual? Because I don't agree with your dumbass point? Yeah. Okay. Anyway, we ready to move on?
I'm good.
We might as well call this Who's Got Beef show, because this right here, Ted Leonsis. I think that's what we're going to call it. We're going to call it Tuesday Night Flight, ... Who Got Beef? Ted Leonsis is talking about moving the Caps, the Wizards, the Mystics, and the Go-Go to Crystal City, Virginia. Maybe they're gonna put something where the Americana was, but I think that's a dumbass idea, because you just built this daggone facility for the Mystics, 3 years ago in Southeast?
Right.
So you're gonna abandon that? Right. You're gonna abandon that to go to Virginia? Here's a question. And this is a question I have for you. And then, I would love for you to tell me your feelings about this. What's the fucking fascination with Virginia, man?
Money. It's the money. I mean, right now we're at a point, you got to think about it. You have 4 franchises, and they're all in 4 different places of either a rebuild, a rebirth, a retool, a re-something. And I think the point, and see, some people took more out of this than I did. I took this as, this is it trying to use and gain some leverage in this situation, because all you've heard is talk about, oh, we gotta get the Commanders back. Oh, we gotta get the Commanders back. Well, now you're talking about a team that has helped revitalize your Chinatown area. You've built up all around it. Like, you gotta have some sense of urgency to keep this. And I think Ted's just making sure they know that he has options as well. This isn't like, oh, we're just gonna be here in perpetuity. He's letting you know that we need, as much as you want to throw some money at this problem or at this person, we need to get some money too. We need some of that DC money going to the Caps, to the Wiz, to the Go-Go. We need some of that money too. And I think this was his play to kind of put that on the table. I'm not taking it seriously, but I know you got to take it serious, because anytime it comes up where there's smoke, there's fire. So there may be some thought to it, but I really think he's trying to put pressure on the city. You also got to think from a business standpoint, in this city, there's going to be a huge thing coming up in the next 2 years. You know, a lot of these places with these commercial buildings, their commercial lease is about to start coming up in the next 2 years or two. So now when you don't have some people coming into the office, like, how much are you going to invest in your commercial real estate to house your people, you know what I'm saying, on a day-to-day basis? Are you really going to make that investment? And I think that's where the city's econ can crumble. I think Leonce is preying on that and knows he has a brilliant opportunity to get some money out of the city when all of this is going on. This is just a power play for me. I don't see Virginia as a threat right now, but it could be later on.
I'm on the other side of the fence with it. I'm sorry, it's raining cows and chickens right now, but I'm on the other side of the fence of it. Here's the thing. Virginia is a threat because Virginia has deep pockets. They have the taxpayer money because the tax brackets are higher, especially deeper. The deeper in Virginia you go, the more money they got to throw around. Go look at a Virginia school, high school. Go look at a Virginia high school, then come look at a PG County high school, then look at a DC high school. You'll see 3 different levels, okay? The taxpayer money that will pay for these teams, because it means jobs and infrastructure, and it means all this and that. I get that. I see Virginia as a threat. However, even though Virginia is a threat, I think it's the dumbest shit for DC teams to move to Virginia. What's the easiest place to get to? DC. What's the easiest place to get out of? DC, because everything comes into the heart of DC and then comes right back out. DC is the heart of everything. Whether you believe in the DMV or you just believe DC is just DC and it's the heart. You think about it. When you got to come in, let's say you riding the Silver Line from Tyson's Corner. If you want to switch trains and get on the Red Line, you got to go into DC and hit one of the stations and then switch trains. You know, every train line goes into DC and comes out of DC, okay? You don't want to move all the way out to Virginia where there's no public transportation, and the public transportation is spotty. Public transportation in DC, probably the best in the area, because you got buses that run damn near all night. I know the 80 bus run until like 4 o'clock in the morning, and it stopped for a half an hour and picked right back up at 4:30. All them years of living at the bottom of the hill of Fort Totten, I used to hear that bus all night. So I know that. But I think the worst thing you can do is move any DC team. No, it don't matter. Even if he owns the Nets, if he buys the Nets, the worst thing you can do is move to Virginia. We've never had an instance where all of our teams, all 4 major sports, that's basketball, football, baseball, hockey, are in the same geographical area, or should I say in the same vicinity as DC at one time. Because the Bullets were in Baltimore. They moved out of the Baltimore arena. They came down to the Capitol Center. They had stayed at the Capitol Center from what 74 to 97. The year that they moved out of the Capitol Center and moved to Capital One, what did Washington do? They moved over there, right? Shit. I'm looking at the stadium now. They moved. Matter of fact, I'm right where the Capitol Center used to be.
Right.
You know, they built the mall there that didn't stay open 10 years because you closed the great Landover Mall. Let me not get in that because I'm about to be pissed off about that too. But you moved the Skins into Landover when you moved the Wizards out. The Wizards and the Caps out. We could have had ourselves a complex right there. If you would have said, okay, instead of destroying and razzing the Capitol Center, let's look at this. Let's rebuild it right there on that spot because this is a perfect spot, especially if you're going to put a stadium right there. We'll have everything like Kansas City has. You got the Royals playing in one park, but right across the street, Pittsburgh has it too. Right across the street, you have Arrowhead. So you have everything right there. And I think it's a basketball stadium in that complex too, from when the Kings used to play there. The Kansas City Omaha Kings. That's old school for y'all. But why can't we have a complex? You say what?
Philly has that, but I think now the problem is they waited too long. I mean, you can't undo all of the construction that's being done in DC, where essentially they're building on every piece of land, every blade of grass that they can build on. There's houses that are in places that for the whole 40 years I've been on this earth, or 48 years I've been on this earth, there was never anything more than trash and overgrown grass. But now all of a sudden, there's houses in these places. Some of these places we were told that you couldn't build on because the long-term vitality of the land, whatever word I want to use, isn't good. It isn't going to be good for you to build on it. Now, 40 years later, they're building on it. So DC, and I'm going off topic a little bit, but DC, I think, has missed the window to have what you're looking for. I think they should have taken that chance back when they were bringing the Nats, or they were building the Nats Park. They should have also taken that opportunity to try to build either a football facility in that same area or somewhere close to it and have it that way. But now we're too long in the tooth and too late because only two viable DC sites are RFK, and I don't even know why they keep talking about Popular Point. I just don't see how that's going to work from a long-term standpoint. I just see that being issues just because of the ground and the land and being so close to the water. I could just see that being a problem. So
wait. Popular Point, is that the way they talking about right down 295?
It's literally right. So if you're coming up Suitland Parkway, there's that pocket of land right before you cross over into going to the Capitol Hill area, and it's right by the Anacostia Metro. So it's like a little section of land back there that like houses Anacostia Park, all that stuff.
Okay. Oh, you do know what that is, right? It's Berry Farms. You talking about what Berry Farms was?
It's after you pass the farms to get to it.
Okay.
Pass the farms to get to it. It's like a little sliver of land. I say sliver because you really can't see all of it because of the trees and everything, but it sits off to the right, and it's. They say they want to build it. I don't see how you would put a team there long term. So I don't see it being a good spot. I think the only option is
RFK. And I agree with that because the spot that you wouldn't have thought of, which would have been great, is across from National Stadium where they put Audi Field at. But here's the thing: Audi Field has private parking. You got private parking. They revitalized that whole entire area, and they're working up and down that strip and everything. And the hotel that's across that, it looks over into Nats Park. And when I was in Nats Park The gentleman told me straight up. He said, "Look, that room right there, $795 a night." I said, "Damn." And he said it's always occupied every night. He said the lights come on in the stadium, that room is occupied. So if somebody's only getting it for one night, 81 times a year, how much money is that for that hotel? So the money can be there. The businesses around can make the money. Here's the problem. The places that you could put a stadium, now you already got Chinatown up and running. I don't think the Wizards should move out of Chinatown because that's the perfect place to have a stadium. You're sitting on top of a metro station. You got food, bars, clubs. You got everything you would want around that stadium. Movie theater, everything. Why would you move away from that?
Well, I mean, it's simple. KG, they're already talking about needing to update the infrastructure and make some changes. And what they want to do is they want to get the city on top or to pay for a lot of those improvements they want to make. That's why we're even having this conversation. We're not having this conversation willy-nilly. It's, oh, you want to invest. I mean, let's think about it. The Cap Center, I'm sorry, not the Cap Center, but Cap One was largely built by Abe's money. So
yeah, that's why everybody agreed to it.
So the city hasn't had to really invest in this property. Now, out of nowhere, you get this Commanders talk, and all they're trying to say is, what about us? Like, what about us? We've been here the whole time. We've been loyal. We've been building. We've been your partners in this. You got to give us something. Give us some love. Give us some cash, and like help us stay here instead of us having to go to Virginia as an option. They probably don't want Virginia as an option, but they got to go through every opportunity for them to grow their product and have a good product.
Well, here's the problem with that. The Commanders, and I say this all the time, I've said it on this show, the Commanders, the Skins, the football team, whatever you want to call them, would have never left DC if Marion Barry was still mayor. That's something that wouldn't have happened. It wouldn't have happened on his watch. If you notice, it's only been one mayor, and I think that was Anthony Williams, that was trying hard to get the team back into DC because he knew what it meant to the city, but he knew how much money it would bring to the city. He was the only mayor that was really, really trying his damnedest. Everybody else was like, oh, what's the dude? Fenty really wasn't worried about it. Bowser, she's like, oh, they got to change their name. She's trying to be quote unquote politically correct instead of she's trying to do everything else but take care of the shit she need to. And yeah, I'm calling her out for it. Crime is up, jobs are down, houses up, wages are down. Like, it's a problem. DC is out of hand in certain places, but you're worried about everything else. You could bring so many jobs and so much infrastructure into DC by getting that team back in there. But, you want to play hardball.
She's not the one playing hardball. Like, everybody keeps saying, trying to blame her for this.
I'm only going by her comments.
This council, I'm sorry, I don't believe anything this DC City Council says. I understand Kenyon. I can't think of Kenyon's last name, McDuffie. I understand what Kenyon's doing, trying to build up the hype behind it. But I think he and maybe two other people might be the only people on that board that's really into trying to bring the Commanders back to DC because everybody else wasn't here. Most of these other people are transplants. So they don't understand what DC is like when the Commanders are winning or when the Commanders are here. They're not worrying about that. They got their other agendas. And so, like, it's so easy to throw it at her feet, but I honestly don't believe that Mendelsohn and company, unless Mendelsohn gets some kind of a sweetheart deal, that, yeah, he's going to be on board for this.
And let me say this. It's great that you brought up transplants. If my wife was sitting here right now, she'd be like, oh, my God, here you go again. We talk about transplants. And here's my thing. I believe in home rule. And I also believe that I said this a while ago. I said if you didn't grow up in or around the city, you shouldn't be able to be mayor. Like if you didn't put no work in, you didn't have feet on the ground, and you put like Marion Barry put feet on the ground. He was working from the bottom up and became mayor. He didn't just come in from North Carolina and be like, okay, I'm mayor. Nah, he worked from the bottom up. I'll give, if I'm not mistaken, Sharon Pratt Kelly, the same thing. Anthony Williams, same thing. When we got home rule people that knows, they're not gonna let nobody come in and influence shit. Whether you council or you a transplant that just live in the city, like they've had council meetings about go-go music. Like what? Why? You moving to? That's like us moving to Ottumwa, Iowa, and saying that your official music should be go-go because that's the way we got back home, and you're not representing us. But this ain't your city. This is our city. This ain't yours. You coming in here trying to change all this and that. This ain't your thing. It's our thing. And that's the problem. Too many people are coming in telling city residents that's been here 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years what this city needs. No, you don't know what we need. If you listen to us, we know what we need. And it goes the same thing when it comes to our sports team. Stop telling us what we need. If you didn't grow up here, you didn't know about RFK. You didn't know, 54,000, smallest stadium in the league. Probably a dump to most of y'all because you didn't really get to it and you didn't understand it. Probably so. Okay. But guess what? It was the only stadium in the league that rocked. The only fan base that took and could shake the neighborhoods around it when they cheered. That is a different type of fandom. That's a different type of beast. That love for the team. I know a lot of people that left the team and wouldn't be fans anymore when they moved to Maryland. Just like people left when they changed the name. Get some of them people back and move back to DC. That's it and that's all. It's a win-win. It's the only thing that needs to be discussed. Who's paying for what? That's the only thing. Figure that shit out.
I think you're making it sound too easy, bro. I think this is a harder deal than people really understand and really want to acknowledge. That too much has been put in place, too much time has transpired or passed by for this to be for it to work the way we would want it to work. Could it work? Yeah. I just think I think DC has the lowest. Like if I'm putting coins in a bucket or whatever, and I'm giving everybody their chances to get this team, I think Maryland is at 40 to 45. I think Virginia's at like 30. And I think DC's got like 20 or 25%, but I was left. But I'm being generous by saying 20. I really think it's like 15. I just don't see it in their mission of what they're trying to do. And I could be absolutely wrong. I have no information. I don't have a source. I'm just telling you how I feel as a resident.
I can agree with that. And I'm not gonna sit here and I'm not gonna tell you, hey, you're fucking wrong. You shouldn't be saying that because, dude, I think you're right. I make everything sound easy. I make everything sound like you can snap your damn fingers and be like, all right, cool, this works. But I'm a diplomatic person, but I'm also somebody that's not going to bitch and complain about things not going my way. I'm willing to compromise. And I guess that's why I'm not in politics, because I want to hear your side. I want you to pitch your side to me, and I'm going to pitch my side. And I want to come to an agreement how we can make this work for both of us. If it's good ideas, but we just don't agree with everything, I would love to do that. But you can't do that. You got to be cutthroat. Unfortunately, when I'm cutthroat, it costs people a lot. You know, the old folks say you get more bees with honey than you do with shit. So I'd rather be sweet. Talk about it. If I put up the money, This is what I want. This is government land. Let me buy this government land. Or hell, you lease the land to me. That's money in your pocket. Let's have a 5-year lease. After 5 years, when we have 4 years and 6 months, let's renegotiate. You know,
Too many
it's
personal agendas, bro.
and that's the problem. When you go into public service, you're supposed to serve the public. That's what you're supposed to serve. You're supposed to serve the public. It's not about you. It's not about me. If we're in public service, we're to serve the public. If we're talking about jobs being shitty in DC, people not. I wonder. I don't even know what the unemployment rate. I don't have it in front of me. But what's the unemployment rate in DC? Okay, you bring a stadium there in DC for the Commanders. You just created jobs. Okay,
See,
you just created opportunities.
so I think KG, like, I think the unemployment rate, whatever it is a thing. But you gotta understand, like, right now, outside of Ward 8, the median income in this city is $144,000.
Yeah, because hell, is it even legal to live in DC anymore?
I mean, you got to go through programs if you're under a certain amount to get, like, they call it affordable housing. But I'll tell you right now, every project, every house or every apartment that I've looked at, it's either come and now maybe HUD will give you money for this. This is something I don't know about, something I haven't researched, but I have researched the lottery program. It's called an inclusionary program, and like every one of those places are built in the city, but they're so in the city that you can't have a car and live there unless you want to pay $350 to park your car or $300 to park your car each month. So yeah, you might be giving me $1,100 for my rent, but now I gotta pay $300 for my parking. You may be giving me wash and dry in the unit, but I'm still paying for utilities.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's like no matter what, you're pricing people out of the city, and you're making some of these programs harder for people to get into. Either you got to be dirt poor, you can't be the person in the middle. Like you can be at the bottom and get some help, and you can be at the top and get help, but in between, it's a struggle, brother. It's a real struggle.
Yeah, I understand that. I understand. Here's a thing to you. If let's say, for lack of a better, let's just play devil's advocate. If the Mystics, the Caps, and the Wizards leave DC, they go to Virginia. Where are you going to go in Crystal City? Because Crystal City is what I heard. How much do I believe it? Not 1,000%. But where do you go in Crystal City?
I mean, again, we're talking about. I mean, because this project isn't happening within this year or next year. So if there's a spot that's struggling with construction or struggling with commercial real estate, you pop it in and place something there. They were talking about, what was it, Amazon, the old Amazon. I can't think of the name of the site. There's an Amazon site somewhere in Crystal City that they were talking about. I don't know if they still use it or not. I think that might have been where the headquarters was supposed to be, but it's not there, or vice versa. But that's a spot where if they got the land there, it can become something. And you got to remember, when you're building a basketball arena, all you're doing mostly is taking up whatever that city block is. You're not really building some monstrosity like a football stadium, because you don't have to worry about the parking around it, like having parking there. All you got to do is have, like they do downtown. There's no parking like places. You got to go to one of the garages and pay whatever the fee is that day for that game. And that's really all you need. So you don't need this grand parking lot like you would have at FedEx for people to come in and park. They just park in the different buildings around the facility.
Okay.
So I don't know exactly where that would go, but that's exactly how it would play out.
Okay. I say we go ahead and put a pin in this argument. because we going off of ifs, fifths, and what ifs.
Right.
So,
and we got 7 years to argue about
that. 7 years. Okay.
You gotta, because you gotta build it.
Yeah, if you build it, they will come.
Right.
So, before we get out of here tonight, the news broke a little while ago. I put it in our Sideline Junkies 24/7 group. Ryan Mallett passed away, former NFL quarterback, 35 years old. He passed away drowning in Florida. So, former New England Patriot, played at Arkansas. I always thought he was going to be the heir apparent to Brady in New England, but it didn't work out that way because Brady never did anything. Brady never went down. Brady never left. So, and Brady just retired. So, condolences to his family. What you got to wrap this thing up?
No, I mean, I think since we're gonna go there, let's just wrap it up off of that. Sometimes you gotta let stuff breathe, and I mean, the kid, I thought, like you, I didn't think he was gonna replace Brady. I thought he was gonna be somebody's pick early on in the draft, and he was gonna be the stud quarterback for him, and maybe he'd have him a couple Pro Bowls or whatever. Then when he got to New England, I just kind of noticed that he just never seemed like he was gonna get that opportunity, no matter what. So. I mean, sad to hear this because he's 35. He's probably got a family. Just sad news. But you know, it's when you're dealing with water, you never know. You never know the consequences, and you never know what the. I don't know. It's the water is unforgiving at times.
That's why I stay away from it.
I'll say it that way.
Well, that's our show for the night. Hey, we did it in under an hour because we good like that. So be back on Thursday with another hot topic, hot take. So until then, that's the Midnight Ride. I'm the big guy KG. Y'all know the motto. We don't do no overtime, and we really proved it tonight. We are out of here.